I have two short questions, I guess. Since you
Speak up for the people.
I'm not precious. It's okay if I sit. Since you brought up Hamas, I was wondering. First question is: do you agree with the Hamas charter?
And what pretext? As far as they want to throw the Jews into the sea and all that
Well,
stuff?
I guess do you agree with Hamas? Do you believe or not believe that they are a terrorist organization?
Well, I will tell you one thing. Hamas is a Palestinian liberation movement. Okay, they are a resistance movement, armed. All right, and according to international law, they have a right to be there. Now, I will not be against them because they are a resistance movement. As an American citizen, obviously, we cannot support materialistically to any group like that. But I will not condemn Hamas. I will not condemn the PFLP. I will not condemn any resistance movement because it is their right. It is their right to resist illegal occupation. And it is covered under, protected under international law.
And my second question is, how come there was no noise or protest when Egypt destroyed, 2 kilometers into Gaza homes to make a buffer zone? How come there was no commotion and they did the same thing that Israel does? They gave them a day of warning and...
Absolutely, there was actually noise. I mean, maybe not enough, maybe not significant as we would go out into the streets against Israel. But I firmly believe that Egypt is also part of the problem in the Gaza Strip. Absolutely. They are part of the problem, they are part of the siege. And some of us, if you follow Electronic Intifada, actually call it the Israeli-Egyptian siege on Gaza. So absolutely, Egypt is complicit with besieging the Gaza Strip.
I'd like to add, it's Egyptian, Israeli, and American, U.S.
Absolutely.
Egypt is worried about, for quite a while, they were worried about losing their support from the United States. U.S. policy in the Middle East is totally supportive of Israel and the siege of Gaza. If the United States didn't want Gaza to be sieged, it would stop tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay, I was asked to make a quick announcement about food not bombs before I call on the next few people whose hands I've seen.
We'd just like to thank the Food Not Bombs people there in the back here. Food Not Bombs makes delicious food. Help yourself to it. They are also a group of people that have been to all of the activist events and have been supporting the right causes. So we want to thank the people. They have a donation basket in the back. Donations are optional. Please enjoy some of the food that they brought. And I would like to introduce the Food Not Bombs people. Thank them for supporting our event.
Thank you.
So, Food Not Bombs is an organization that's been going on since the 90s in Cleveland, and we serve vegetarian or vegan food usually every week, and we try to support activist groups such as this as much as we can. And we believe that food is not a privilege and should not be paid for. And so, yeah, it's a human right, and it's a protest against poverty.
And we do a meal every Saturday, right?
Yeah, we do a meal every Saturday and we have
that on Public
regulars
Square?
and stuff.
Market Square.
Market Square.
Market
It's
Square,
5 o'clock.
West 25th.
We'll
Yes.
go there after here. And I wanted to thank Abbas for inviting us. We've worked together on a few different things for both Palestinian rights and the Black Lives Matter movement, which I feel the two are extremely related. And so we actually, just a quick plug, in case anyone is interested in some spoken word, there is going to be, I don't know if anybody knows the Peace Poets. They are from New York City. They're a really good spoken word group that talks about all kinds of social justice issues. And they are having a benefit concert to benefit Cleveland activism, specifically the Black Lives Matter movement, because we've been running into some financial problems. And that's happening at Cleveland State at 7:30 in the Drinko Hall, if anybody wants to go. Tonight, yeah. It's a benefit concert. Nobody has to donate. There's a suggested donation of $10, but anybody who wants to come and talk about social justice and hang out, we would welcome anybody.
East 20th and Euclid.
Yes. Yeah. Is that all?
Okay. Thank you, Food Not Bombs.
Okay, and before too many people start leaving, we probably didn't make enough of these flyers, but we're planning an upcoming program of Jewish perspectives on Middle East peace. which if we can get it together in time, it's going to be at the end of next month here. We've done that program in the past at Beechwood Library, and we had like an overflow crowd. So we're trying to do that again. If there are any of these flyers left, feel free to take it if you're interested, or visit our website. We'll be updating that. And then try to keep it a little down as you're exiting, because we still have a few other people who wanted to ask questions. You're on.
Thank you.
And thank you all for coming.
Things get just a little bit quieter.
Okay, now's... No? Oh, okay.
Okay, I've heard a lot of things here that I actually feel optimistic.
Can you speak a little louder, please?
I heard a number of things here that I actually feel optimistic about, and in part because I hear things that reflect South Africa, the legacy of the occupation, the ongoing efforts with the right of return. And I'm just wondering to what extent South Africa offers anything less.
Did you want parallels, you said, between South Africa and the Palestinian movement?
I'm hearing parallels
Yes.
to you.
Yes, she's asking do we see parallels.
Yes, definitely. And it's not to say that things in South Africa are just perfect, that there are a lot of problems, but at least they ended the apartheid system. And by the way, Israel practices apartheid against the Palestinians. We didn't touch on that. It's worse than it is in South Africa. Many South Africans come to Palestine and tell us it's worse. I brought up South Africa because I think the fact that apartheid ended with no bloodshed, and as a matter of fact, it stopped the bloodshed, not completely. Things aren't all that great in South Africa, but at least there was no mass massacres. And that's what we need in Palestine. We need reconciliation, and we need to have both groups work with each other.
Okay, I have two more hands, and then I'm going to wrap up officially. Yes, you and then you.
First of all, my name is Diana Daniels. Thank you so much for putting a face on it with the photos. Being a visual person, that really does it. And as a citizen of the world, I thank you for doing this. I wish I had as much courage as you two and this group does. My question is, I've been seeing a lot of changes, little tiny baby steps with the gay rights, with the fracking, with all this other stuff. What's his name? I can never pronounce his name. The Prime Minister from Israel. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Just think of Yahoo.
Yeah. There's an old saying, if you give somebody enough rope, they will hang themselves. Do you think that this is happening now? People are now going and saying, wait a minute. What the hell is this guy doing here when he wasn't invited? Is this the beginning of maybe the rope getting a little bit longer and popping up?
Yes, absolutely. I think this is the beginning, hopefully at least. I'm hopeful that steps like this are the beginning, because if you remember, Netanyahu was also invited to Paris after that incident in Paris, okay, with the Charlie Hebdo. That's what I was looking for. So he went there and he was marching against terror. You know, he was at the front line, marching against the Paris terrorist attacks. You know, and this really baffled many of us, and many people online actually mocked it. You know, they started making different memes, you know, of this Netanyahu, you know, being at the front line here fighting terror. So it was disgusting. A lot of people were disgusted. He was not invited to that, from my understanding. And correct me if I'm wrong. But Netanyahu was not officially invited to Paris, and he did the same thing in Congress. Here he is, Obama is telling him, you're not invited, which started the skip the speech hashtag that went viral. I'm very active online, by the way, at the social media, so I see this stuff a lot. And there is a difference. I mean, basically, Obama unwelcomed Netanyahu's visit, but he still came, and that's very dangerous. Although it is a good step, we still have enough idiots in Congress who applauded him for simply sipping water. You know what I mean? So it's still at a dangerous stage, because this is a man, as we know, AIPAC, by the way, which we had many activists just a week ago who attended the anti-AIPAC protests. And they're basically making these changes and making these moves where people are becoming aware of this nonsense. You know,
So
and
it's a good thing, but just don't take
it's a
down
good
the
thing,
war.
but I still think it's dangerous because you still have enough people to applaud a war criminal. I mean, he's still being applauded, he's still being respected, even though the President of the United States of America unwelcomed him, and many, I don't know if it was 50 Congress people who skipped the speech. 60? 60 Congress people skipped the speech. It's a great step, but we need more is what I'm saying.
And it's important for us to thank people like Sherrod Brown, who... Oh, no, he didn't skip the speech. Marcia Fudge.
And Marcia Kaplan.
Right, okay. Yes, oh, did you want to answer that too?
Thank you.
She did. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yes, my question has to do with the Palestine-Ferguson thing.
Yes.
Have you seen any effect that linking those two movements has had? And then I want to, and also I'm wondering, because the Israeli government is so racist. I mean, it's obviously the Palestinian issue, but this goes beyond that. You know, racist against the black Jews, racist against even the Sephardic Jews that are there, and any other darker races, because Israel was supposed to have been a European Jewish nation, not a all Jewish nation. So, I mean, is there a way that we can actually, is there a way to bring these things forward? I think we can even tell by the way he treated our president, with that, you know, almost, he didn't call him boy, but you wanted to, you know, even, you can hear that coming out. Is there, so the first part of it is, has there been made a difference linking the two movements? And is there a way to and if that's true, is there a way to bring some of that out to help the movement?
Well, you know, let me tell you my reaction when I first saw Ferguson. I said, my God, this is just like the West Bank. I looked at the Ferguson police, the way they were dressed, the way they were armed, the way they were treating the Ferguson citizens. It's just not like what the Israelis do. And the Israeli government prides itself at using the Gaza and the West Bank as laboratories. They test tactics, they test equipment, and they are selling it overseas. For example, they come here to the United States, they train people for the airports, they're training police forces, and you're seeing the effects. And yes, and I see connections between what happened in Ferguson, and if you follow what's going on our border with Mexico, an Israeli company called Elbit is building the wall and the fence between the United States and Mexico, and that reminds me of Israel as well. And what we need to do together, Middle Easterners, the Native Americans, the African Americans, and the Latinos, the Latinas in the United States, we need to work together and invite all white people who are not racist to join us and work for our rights to erase racism. It is super important.
The Ferguson thing, as you may know, and maybe some people didn't, but when this was going on, you had people in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank of Palestine actually texting and tweeting people in Ferguson and teaching them how to take the tear gas and basically how to fight through it. And a lot of the tweets that I saw were actually mental. They were saying you're going to get hit with tear gas, you're going to get hit with these chemical sprays, and you have to fight through it mentally. It's going to hurt like hell, but in your mind, you need to know that in a few seconds or in a few minutes, that is going to go away. So keep fighting. And they were teaching them how to cover their nose and things like that. So there was a really, really special connection, and there were people online actually posting posters, you know, Ferguson, Palestine stands with Ferguson, or Palestine to Ferguson, or Ferguson to Palestine. And we actually had people from Ferguson going to Palestine who recently went there and who went to the West Bank and actually witnessed some of the atrocities that the Palestinian people are doing. So it's great. And yes, as far as the Africans that are in occupied Palestine who are going there, they're actually giving some women, okay, they're actually giving them shots to not have babies. What are anti-sterilization shots or whatever you call it? Yes, to not have babies. So there is a racism going on now that is a black thing, if you will, in occupied Palestine, where the Israelis are actually shouting at Africans and telling them to leave. They're telling these Africans to leave an occupied land that's not even theirs. You know, so they have serious issues, and these are the people that are telling you they want to go to the peace table.
Here's an article on Ferguson Palestine connection that will be right on the corner of this table as you go out. It was in Ebony magazine, which is kind of a breakthrough.
Okay, I want to thank you all for coming and thank our speakers again. We have a donation basket if anybody would like to donate to help us do these programs. And thanks to the Cleveland Heights Library who opened up this room. We were only supposed to have half of the room, but they opened it up to allow for the bigger crowd. Thank you. Thanks, Food Not Bombs.